This coming February will be the 40th anniversary of a major cultural event in our society. Anybody know what special thing happened 40 years ago this coming February? That would have been February 1980. Our whole country was spellbound by something. The United States Olympic hockey team. In 1980, for those of you who don't remember or weren't there or have forgotten, in 1980, the United States Olympic hockey team was made up of a bunch of college players, average age 21. This was back in the day when only amateurs could participate in the Olympics. They went into a tournament of 10 teams, that Olympics, and if they came in 7th, it would have been a major accomplishment. And they ended up winning the gold medal. In the final rounds, they beat the Soviet Union, which was literally the equivalent of a high school baseball team beating the Yankees. Literally, at the time. How did this happen? Well, in 1979, a guy by the name of Herb Brooks was named coach of the hockey team. And he approached this from a different angle than anybody else would have approached it. He approached it with the attitude that he was going to beat the Soviet Union. The people on the Olympic Committee thought he was a little crazy. But he said he is going to beat them at their own game. Now, if you know anything about hockey, that Soviet style of hockey was speed, move the puck by passing, constant weaving and constant motion. It was very different than the North American style of hockey, which was to dump the puck into the offensive zone near the goal, dig it out of the corners, try to get a shot. Very rough, very physical, little slower. But Brooks figured no one has tried to beat them at their own game, so they wouldn't see it coming. And for this, he needed a particular brand of player. The Olympic Committee invited hundreds, literally hundreds of players to come for a week to Colorado, to the training center to try out. Hundreds of players trying to find a squad of 20 for the Olympic roster. On the first day of tryouts, Herb Brooks sent them all home. He already knew who he wanted on the team. The Olympic Committee was very angry with him. They had hundreds of players who were very upset that they didn't even finish day one and were sent home. They asked of him, how will you know who the best players are if you don't have the tryouts? And Brooks replied, I'm not looking for the best players. I'm looking for the right ones. He knew that his idea was going to take a special type of player. Someone who had the psychological makeup to change the way they played the game, work out till they were so tired they could not move because they needed to be fast, 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 fast. Commit themselves to each other because it was going to require a team effort unlike any they had ever participated in before. He knew the players he wanted. He had scouted them and looked at them for a long time, hoping to get this job and knowing if he did who the players should be, to pull off the idea he had about how to win. Tryouts measure how fast you skate, how hard your shot is, how accurate your shot is, how much you know of the game. But Brooks didn't need all that. He didn't need the best stick handler. He didn't need the hardest slap shot. He needed the smartest players, the most dedicated ones, the ones willing to push themselves beyond all limits so they had a chance. And he did. He taught them how to do it. And they succeeded. 2 weeks before they played the Soviet Union in the medal round, they lost to the Soviet Union 10-3 at Madison Square Garden. The night they played the Soviet Union in the medal round of the Olympics, Brooks told them, "You're not good enough to beat this team. We play them 10 times, they'll probably win 9, but not tonight. Tonight, we're going to skate with them, we're going to beat them at their own game." And they went out and they did it. Everyone in Olympic hockey and American hockey was thinking, how do we beat the Russians? Brooks was thinking, yes, we will beat the Russians. We'll figure out a way to get it done, and I think I know what it is. And he had the plan, and he went out and he did it. He did not hesitate. He sent everybody from tryouts home on the first day. He knew the players he wanted. We had a laser game set up here today. And every one of our participants didn't respond with, "I don't know how I'm going to do that. Does it cost any money? I don't think the games committee will like me playing this." No, they walked right up to the yarn and they gave it a shot. And sometimes they didn't succeed. You know what they did? They got back in line and tried again. Because they weren't worried about how they were going to do it. They just said, yes, I'm going to figure this out and I'm going to go for it. We could learn a lot from our young people. The answer to how is yes. As we heard in our reading today, how bogs us down in questions of fear, in questions of anxiety. How much will it cost? How long will it take? How many people won't like it? Who cares? Yes, let's get it done. Let's find a way. If that's what we want to do, let us make it happen. This is not just about positive thinking. All right? There's a popular psycho-cultural thing out there, just say yes to everything. Well, that's going to fall apart of its own weight soon enough, right? Saying yes still means you got to have a plan, and you got to be willing to try and try again. You got to be willing to fail till you get it. Positive thinking is important. Good attitudes are definitely better than poor attitudes. But good attitude alone isn't enough. There needs to be an effort, a desire, a belief in oneself that your attempts will prove successful or will teach you what you need to be successful. The answer to how is
yes.
That sounded like a maybe. The answer to how is
yes.
Right. That's how to do it. Right? Peter Block says, understand that the task is to shift from the demand for the right answer to the search for the right question. When we shift from wanting the right answer to asking the right question, we answer how with yes, but we also begin to think of more important things like, why are we doing this yes? What is our underlying motivation? Why? What is our purpose? Why do we do everything we do with yes? Why and yes go together. There are many congregations that spend a lot of time trying to do things the right way. The best way to greet a visitor. The best way to light your chalice and have joys and concerns. The best way to have music and singing. The best way to preach. The best way to do a reading. The best way to run your board meeting. And yet, finding the best way to do something isn't always the most important. What's most important is finding something to do that matters. Why are we all engaged in this effort of church together? To transform ourselves, to transform the world, to side with those who are oppressed in various and many ways. Our entire year this year here at our church is going to be spent on figuring out what really matters and arranging ourselves to do what matters more powerfully and meaningfully. And this congregation already knows how to answer yes. People needed sanctuary. What did you answer?
Yes.
Yes. And you did it. We are going to answer yes to the things that matter. And we're going to find out how to do it. And all those things that beg for the right answers, will we find good and better and right ways to do them? Yes, we will. But we're going to find them because we're going to concentrate on what matters. And we're going to leave aside those things that do not matter. How do we find what matters? We focus on it, and we use it as our starting point. There's a guy named Simon Sinek, has a very popular YouTube video he calls the Golden Circle. And he talks about how leaders and successful businesses and things communicate. And he says, successful leaders and businesses and marketers communicate differently than everyone else. He says, everyone else usually starts with what? What do I need to tell you? And then how? How will I tell you? And then maybe they get to why do I want to tell you this? Successful communication, he says, starts with the why. Announcing your purpose. Then how you're going to do it. And then you can get to what. What does this seem like? Well, in church we do a lot of whats. We have yoga classes, we have meetings, we have coffee hour. What it is we do here and about our church, we tell them, well, we're very liberal, we're very open-minded, we don't have any dogma, we are covenantal, we base our community on how we relate to each other and the relationships we have with each other. And why do we do this? Well, we do it because, we work for justice and we want to create a community for everybody. The way most churches communicate would be like this. We are the Unitarian Universalist Church of Meriden. We are open-minded, free thinkers, unbound by dogma. We support a lot of liberal social and justice issues. We have a Sunday worship service and religious education, and we have served as a sanctuary church. We gather together in loving community and work for social justice and nurture spiritual growth. Come hang out with us. Does that sound familiar?
Yep.
That's the usual Unitarian Universalist church pitch as to why you should be hanging out at a Unitarian Universalist church. But that's backwards, according to Simon Sinek. Listen to what it sounds like putting why first. Everything we do in order to create a loving community where we nurture the human spirit and work for racial, economic, and environmental justice. From Sunday worship to yoga to potlucks to our work as a sanctuary church, we put our faith into practice. We are the Unitarian Universalist Church in Meriden. Come journey with us. Now, which of those pitches is more engaging? Because it starts with the why. Everything we do to create a loving community where we nurture the human spirit and work for racial, economic, and environmental justice. Purpose. Why? Yes. And those aren't my words. Those are the words of your mission that was in existence before I even got here. And if we're going to keep having success, and if we're going to grow and be a spiritual home, a transformation for ourselves and the world around us, we must always lead with the why. Because when we start with purpose, having the energy to say yes and just walk up to the lasers and go is so much easier. Because why we're doing it is right up front. Why did Brooks do what he did? To win a gold medal. He was going to beat the Russians and anybody else in the way. That was his purpose, to be the best hockey team in the world. for those 2 weeks. And he did it. If our purpose is to create actual loving community, real loving community, the kind where you can bring your worst self as well as your best self, where you can screw up and people will forgive you and welcome you back, where you can have your days where you're just the most annoying pain in the butt around, and people let it slide because they love you and they're like, hey, what's going on? Real loving community where we celebrate your successes, being who you are, getting that part in the school musical, getting a promotion at work. Whatever you're doing, we want to celebrate it. Nurturing that human spirit, providing the opportunity for your heart to expand and grow and feed that still small voice in your soul that propels you to do what you do and live how you live because it is your most sacred why. We are going to focus on why we are here. And from there, we're going to find out how to do it better. That will teach us what we need to do, and we'll be able to say yes to the tasks in front of us. We will look for better questions. If we can't figure something out, or if something isn't working, or we seem stuck somewhere, we're going to stop trying to research the best answer and start asking more and more questions. What is it we're not asking? What is it we're missing? As we continue this journey together, you and I and all of us together here, let's search for good questions. We may start with simple things, such as, well, what do we mean by growth and what does that look like to us? We will remember that all options and all ideas and all approaches are open for consideration. Nothing is dismissed out of hand. Because when we dismiss things out of hand, we can't focus on yes. We will politely ask the how questions to take a break for a year. We got some seats for you over there, how. Just go sit down. We'll figure out how to get the money. Go sit over there. First, we're going to figure out what it is we want to do. Then we'll figure out how to get the money. So we'll take care of that. Just go take a time out for this year. If it costs money, we'll find it. If it needs hard work, we'll do it. Saying yes will give us the permission not only to try, but to fail, to risk, to fail forward. Because any mission, any purpose, any why that is worth having is one you have to be able to fail at. Because if you can't fail at it, is it really worth trying to reach for it? Is it important enough? Is it meaningful enough? Will it be transformative enough? And I think those things, loving community and justice and spiritual deepening, those are worth failing at till you hit it right. This past Friday, or was it last 2 weeks ago now? I forget which pulpit I'm at. So it was a week ago Friday, I went to the climate strike in Hartford, right? One of the speakers was 15-year-old college freshman, let that sink in, 15-year-old college freshman, Sina Wazer, organizer of Sunrise, Connecticut. I think it's so powerful, she said, to see so many people from so many different backgrounds come together on this. 11 years from now, she said, I will be 26 and my sister will be 24. I still want a safe future for us and for our generation. To make sure I have a future and to make sure my children have a future. She begged us to vote because she's not old enough yet. She begged us to make it a first priority in everything we do. Why? Because as some of the signs we saw there said, there is no planet B. when faced with ecological disaster. We have no choice but to answer yes, and to force yes upon all those who will say how. How will I stay rich from fossil fuels if we do this? The answer to how is yes. And this saying yes and purpose is really the core of Unitarian Universalism. We believe in hope, and we believe in working to make it so. We believe, James Luther Adams said, there are enough resources in us and around us, human and divine, to justify an attitude of ultimate, if not immediate, optimism. We are a people of hope. This is our theology. Adams also said, part of being religiously liberal is to believe there is no such thing as the immaculate conception of virtue. Good things don't just happen. We must be involved in making them happen. We believe that we are the ones we've been looking for. We believe in failing forward. We believe in being purpose and mission focused. We believe in starting with why and answering
Yes.
yes. In everything we do. We do it to create a loving community where we nurture the human spirit, work for racial, economic, and environmental justice. We are Unitarian Universalists. We are the Unitarian Universalist Church in Meriden. Come and journey with us.